Hi, my name is Dr. Mary Corbelli. I am an educator of 24 years, and close to my passions are supporting students and families navigating challenges. I've worked in public school and independent school, and also really focus on the work that can be done in private practice to help students and families build their skills and meet their goals. Parents continually face the intellectual and emotional challenge of deciding how much to be involved in their child's schoolwork. At times, it can be tempting to move from being very hands-on to very hands-off quite quickly. Perhaps a student is starting high school, and it seems like the right time to back off and allow for more independence. But is this decision based on the child's current needs or on societal markers that may not directly apply to their individual development at that time? The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It's all about creating a supportive environment that adapts to your teenager's developmental stage and their current needs. Along these lines, two common narratives might come to mind, which may feel familiar. One is, my child is about to start high school. It's time to let go and let them manage on their own. The other is, my child is about to start high school. I need to be more involved to make sure they get off to a great start, don't have any uphill battles, and transition successfully. Neither approach alone is right or wrong. And of course, there are often many variables at play, and an all or nothing plan of attack rarely fits either the student or the parent. Instead, what matters most is providing a facilitatory space, which is a supportive environment that leaves room for your child to use the tools that they are developing towards their own independence. So, taking it a step further, we can think of a facilitatory environment as one that allows room for mistakes and disappointments to happen, free from parental activation that can inadvertently shut down the growth process, driving our children deeper into perfectionism or avoidance, or possibly a combination of the two. One of our goals is to build capacity in our children to tolerate uncertainty and reasonable amounts of stress so they can effectively access their executive functioning and academic skills. I often call this readiness. Readiness to solve a problem or tackle a challenge. It isn't easy and it takes time, but I'm going to talk a bit more about a few places we can start. So, readiness, often described as maturity, largely hinges on the child or teenager's own emotional regulation, which is a necessary executive functioning skill underpinning so many other areas of development. And as we ask whether or not our children have what they need, we must also ask if we as parents have the emotional tools to support them. This is where parent emotional regulation becomes critical. Do we have a plan and the flexibility to adjust that plan as our children move through adolescence? Neither extreme, hands-on or hands-off, serves best. The challenge lies in navigating the in-between, where adolescents are less dependent, yet face increasingly complex challenges. So, how do we adapt at home to support building teen independence? Foundational to the ULURU's research-backed framework is that a mindset facilitating growth requires an emotionally cool setting. In other words, when parents model calmness rather than a high emotional charge, we better support our children in task initiation, completion, and skill development. Yet, given the pace of modern life, the pressures that come with education today, and our desire to help our children succeed, perfectly maintaining emotional regulation can be nearly impossible. Without strategies and support, parents may slip into or move towards those extremes, over-involvement or disengagement. Over-involvement can lead to conflict, exhaustion, and learned helplessness, while parents withdrawing too quickly can leave adolescents unprepared for real challenges. The right balance allows parents to support their children in making the right kind of mistakes, those that foster growth rather than feelings of defeat. These are moments where students can learn resilience, build problem-solving skills, and grow their own emotional strength, key aspects to cultivating teen independence. However, even mentioning the notion of a right or wrong kind of mistake begs the question of how do we know what kinds of mistakes or challenges are which? I wish there was a singular answer, and again, the specifics depend on so many factors going on in the child's and family's life. But a rule of thumb that I use that I hope helps you is to ask yourself, is the natural consequence of letting the child or teenager figure the challenge out on their own or with less parental intervention uncomfortable, or is it intolerable? You know your child. Sometimes they just really need a win and you need to step in, get to a solution, and debrief later. Other times, you might really need them to experience an outcome or a natural consequence, even if painful, to help them receive a signal that they need to break a pattern or work towards making a change. So, for example, maybe your 14-year-old had a really tough 2 days. They didn't make the team, they weren't elected to student council, or they had a challenge with a friend, and a big quiz is the next day. They might be a little panicked, but they're feeling low. This may not be the moment to take a step back, and it may be a situation where you sit down and really are fully involved in the students' studying and quiz preparation. They need to be buoyed and they need a boost so that they're able to, when feeling better, more independently access the skills that they're developing. On the flip side, maybe they made the team and won the election, but there was so much investment in those processes that there was some procrastination in terms of preparing for classes and getting homework done, and you really have seen this pattern happen for your child in the past, and they need to learn greater balance. This might be a moment where you offer some support, but also leave space for them to problem solve on their own so you're not overcorrecting and ultimately reinforcing this maladaptive pattern. So I'm going to pause for a moment and summarize. We need to stop and ask ourselves, is the natural consequence uncomfortable or intolerable to them, to the learner? And I'm going to add on that we can't center ourselves in these moments. It's very natural to do, it's human, it's unconscious, and I do it too. But we're not asking, is the outcome uncomfortable or intolerable to us as the adult, but to them as the adolescent. Let's say you are in that moment and you are asking yourself the question about the situation being uncomfortable versus intolerable. What is one more step you can take to help keep your levels of arousal and activation low? Creating that cool environment. Mark Brackett, the founding director of the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, recently discussed reappraisal in Time magazine. Brackett explains that reappraisal is a science-backed strategy that helps you rethink a situation in a way that changes its emotional impact on yourself and on those around you. He also discusses the fact that research shows that people who regularly reappraise their emotions tend to experience less stress and anxiety, have better relationships, including with their children, and even experience better health. Practicing reappraisal enables parents to model the same skills we want our adolescents to develop: calm thinking, measured responses, and adaptability. In the best of cases, reappraisal can be a chance to reframe a difficult situation into an opportunity, even if you are just moving the needle a little bit. In practice, this may mean accepting short-term discomfort for longer-term gain. This might feel intolerable in the moment, but chances are it's actually only uncomfortable. As you pause to reappraise a stressful moment in your household around schoolwork that needs a solution, the project isn't done and the clock is ticking, one concrete step you can take as you pause to reappraise is to ask your child what steps they know they can take to show you what they can do or to show you what steps they have taken so far. This can help redirect agency back to the student. The student may be frustrated. They came to you looking for a solution and they may not be getting one right away, but you can anticipate and accept their discomfort and whatever else may go along with it to scaffold or lay out questions we can turn the students back to that direct them to their own agency. Is it always going to look great? Is it always going to feel good? Nope. But we set the temperature and redirect problem solving back to our children. This can help us avoid reacting too quickly or jumping to parental takeover mode or blind support. On the flip side, this process keeps the parent involved as they gauge the possible intensity of the situation, uncomfortable or intolerable. Under-involvement is also not the goal, while still centering the child's metacognition, self-reflection, self-regulating, and planning. Ultimately, moments of tension or struggle become opportunities to practice self-regulation, reflection, and problem solving. When we model this, our children learn that success is not defined by perfection, but by persistence and building emotional strength, tolerating that uncertainty and that discomfort. While hard to teach and hard to do, it's very critical to instill, especially as our children's brains are still developing. Effective parental self-regulation means we are raising adolescents who develop autonomy in a collaborative setting instead of our children developing independence because they are retreating from our own emotional responses. It's not linear. It can be messy as we build our own capacity to model and reappraise, thereby lowering the temperature. And as we act, when we do take steps for involvement, we need to lean towards making those first actions, redirecting problem solving to the child so they can see what they can accomplish on their own or can center what they have accomplished so far. Also, using the rule of thumb of uncomfortability versus intolerability can truly guide you in these real-time moments and all along the way.
I think that's a wrap.
Yeah!